Glad to know that I beat Kanye. So I have that going for me. Still holding out hope for Pennsylvania.
I told Alan to vote for me, but he wouldn't do it.
I had to vote for myself.
So we've been... Now Madeline's here.
Yeah.
So this week we were planning on doing another video in our series about eating snacks, food.
Not eating snack food. However, we've had a really interesting week with Jesse. And so we wanted to give you guys an update because we wanted to keep you guys very informed about what's actually going on in our lives. So we moved up here. It was 1 year ago this past weekend. And within the last 7 days, we have signed Jesse up for 2 different forms of services, plus the school's now actually recommending other services. So all of this has just happened literally in the last couple of days. So we kind of want to give you guys information about what we feel like Jesse needs services wise and what's being recommended to us by professionals that could benefit Jesse. So our focus when we were coming up here were 2 things. 1, getting moved up here, and 2, getting Jesse started in his new school, which he goes to a school for children with autism. They also have neurotypical kids, but most of them do have an autism diagnosis. We looked at other schools all across the country. We went to 2 of them, viewed 2 of them. This is the one we felt would be the best fit and most beneficial for him in the long run. So we try to get Jesse individual therapy because I think it's important for kids to have another adult they can go to besides just a parent, for somebody to kind of consult with and talk to about how they're feeling. One thing that confused us, and I'm sorry, I'm a natural blonde, it is what it is when we got diagnosed, when Jesse got diagnosed with autism, when our family went through the autism diagnosis journey, we looked into ABA therapy because that's what everybody says. Everybody's like, oh, you need ABA therapy. And we're like, you know, I don't even actually know what that is. So I'm gonna read you literally from Google what it says. ABA therapy is applied behavioral analysis. It's a type of therapy focusing on improving specific behaviors such as social skills, communication, reading, and academics, as well as adaptive learning skills such as fine motor, hygiene, grooming, etc., etc., etc. So that's what ABA therapy is. If you're wondering, now you know. So it took us a long time to be able to find an ABA therapist. There was actually a lot of crying involved in that.
Yeah.
When I first made the initial call trying to get him signed up for ABA therapy, it was right after everything opened back up after the pandemic. So we moved up here at the end of October, beginning of November. We got him started into school. We wanted to get everything settled in and see what type of additional services he needed before signing him up for anything, because we weren't sure what was going to be covered by the school or what he was going to need additional help with. Then COVID happened and everything got shut down. So once everything finally started opening back up, I made some phone calls to try to get him into some ABA therapy. At which point I was told, since it had been over a year since he was actually diagnosed, he would have to have a new updated diagnosis before receiving any type of treatment. It had been what? A year and a week?
Yeah.
It was literally
like a year.
Just over a year.
Yeah. Like a few days.
It was not, like, it was just over a year. The issue was at this point, they're at an 18-month to 2-year waiting list to get a diagnosis. So even though we had just received a diagnosis 1 year prior, we would have to wait 18 months to 2 years to get the same diagnosis again, even though he hasn't changed. And then we would have to wait for a therapist to become available for him to see.
Yeah, that sums up. Yeah.
I tried to talk to the lady. I tried to think of any other options that were possible, if there were any exceptions, any allowances. I did everything I could, but when I got off the phone with her and hung up, I bawled. I cried. The idea of having to wait 18 months to 2 years to try to even start to get him services again, I lost it. So I waited about a week, try to come up with any other types of services. I spoke to his doctor to see if there was anything that they could do just to diagnose him again, like update it, what we could do. Anyways, I got in touch with a few people that could help, and they got him signed up for services. We got the intake process started, but then we have to wait for a therapist to become available. We finally got him into his first therapy appointment last week. So my point with that is, even if you get told one answer, that doesn't mean that you should give up and not persist. Like, keep trying, keep advocating for your kids, do whatever you have to do, call whoever you have to call to make that happen. You guys can do it too. There might be some tears. Tears might be shed in the process because it's frustrating, but keep trying. So after we got him on the wait list for his therapist, what we started looking into was a dyslexia tutor. He's getting help through his school, learning how to read. He's actually getting a lot of individual one-on-one attention. However, he needs more intense. Like, he's so far behind on his reading. He definitely needs a lot more intense, multiple days a week to get him where he needs to be, or even close to where he needs to be. But when we looked into it, dyslexia tutors are starting at $65 an hour, and every single one of them is saying that in order for him to progress, he's going to need to be 3 to 4 days a week. I'll let you do the math on that real quickly.
It's a lot.
So needless to say, during a pandemic, that's a little out of our price range right now. Maybe one day we can afford to pay that out of pocket, but today is not one of those days. So we're like, okay, there's got to be some services around here that'll help us pay for a tutor. Jesse obviously needs it. He has an IEP plan that says he needs a lot of this stuff. The direction that people kept pointing us would be disability services. Jesse qualified for disability services with his diagnosis. They're actually being really helpful in pointing us to social groups, which are great. We're really excited about those. However, they're not able to help us for what we need for tutoring services. They can help a little bit financially, but they can't even cover the cost for one hour session. They can't even cover that, let alone multiple times a week. So that wasn't really a helpful situation. We have Jesse on a wait list for actually free dyslexia tutor services. However, it's about a year wait list, and he cannot wait another year to get those services. So in the process of getting these disability services, we've been referred to social groups. Jesse does have some classes, some things at school that talk about social cues and things like that, but he really needs to be able to interact with the other kids. He could use a little bit, what do you call that? Working on socialization skills. I cannot communication, really.
Communication skills.
Yeah.
He has the desire to be social. He wants to be social, yes. But the ability to, I don't want to say do it properly. Effectively isn't there. Yeah.
He's a very social person. He just needs to learn the skills on how to be effective in starting a conversation or maintaining a conversation with someone else.
Yeah.
We have a list of social groups that were sent to us that would potentially be a good fit for Jesse. So we're looking into those and picking one that we think is going to be really good.
Yeah.
That's at the bottom of our list after working out the dyslexia tutoring.
Yeah.
The weird thing that happened yesterday was I got an email from Jesse's school. We'd actually just went over his IEP last week.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're good there, but they just emailed me yesterday saying that they wanted to sign him up with a speech therapist that he could do during school. And I was really confused. I'm like, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Would you mind calling me? So they did, super polite. I love the people at his school. They're very good about getting on and talking to me.
They are really good about it, yeah.
And explaining anything that I have questions about. But she kept explaining to me, she kept saying, well, we're going to have the speech therapist, and it's a social skills group at lunch. And I'm like, I can't comprehend what you're talking about because you keep saying speech therapist. It's like, that's who it is. It's a speech pathologist.
Speech therapy is, to me, and I think Ashley, is people who have problems speaking. Like, lisp or something like that, like getting...
When I was in elementary school, I remember like 1st and 2nd grade, I had a speech class where I was taken out of class and put in with it like this little tiny closet room with an individual, and I worked on my S's. I remember my S's. I had trouble pronouncing my X's. And
it's an inside joke, people. Don't worry, you probably
I just says X's instead of S's.
I had trouble pronouncing my X's.
While saying I can't pronounce S's.
Worked well. Crushing it.
Anyways, so when they keep saying speech therapist, I'm like, he can pronounce all his letters. He speaks very well.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm not understanding.
Because Ashley texted me that they wanted to put him in speech with a speech therapist while I was at work, and I'm like, he talks fine.
Yeah.
He has problems talking, like communication-wise, but when he does talk, no problems.
He can pronounce all his letters, his
Yeah.
syllables. Like, I didn't understand what she was talking about. But apparently, if you guys know this stuff, good for you. Good for you guys for being aware of this. But I had no idea. The speech therapist works on social skills.
Figure that one out.
Did you know that? Please tell me if you did or did not know
In my
this.
head, that's called it.
Are we just old? Is this the issue? We're old?
Apparently.
We
'Cause
might just be too old.
My head, social skills would be like I want to say socialist? Sociologist? I don't know. I'm making things up now. Become a sociologist, kids. The study of being social. Look it up. It's a thing.
Sociology.
Yeah, but that's like a
The study of people.
Is that a study of people? Yeah, okay, then yeah.
You're thinking philosophy. Sociology is the study of people.
Okay, yeah.
Like groups
Sociology.
and cultures and things like that.
Not a speech therapist.
Things you didn't know, you didn't know.
Because we work.
Stop it. I have work here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Back on topic. So the school is now recommending that Jesse signs up for services with a speech therapist to work on social skills in a group that meets at lunchtime. I thought, okay, that's cool. He needs to work on his social skills. Turns out he apparently did not think that's very cool.
Oh, really?
So he's talking to his therapist today for their second session, and I had brought up that the school had requested to do this and it caught me off guard. And she was not surprised because obviously this is her profession, and she's like, yeah, that's what they do. But I see your confusion. I understand where you're coming from. I'm like, of course. Good job. When I mentioned it, Jesse's like, you already signed me up. I don't want to do that. And then the therapist is like, well, this is perfect. We're actually going to talk about these things today. About how you react when things catch you off guard. So then part of their session was talking about his feelings towards it and the potential pros and cons, about that it's okay to have, thoughts about this, but we can't let the thoughts then create these feelings and reactions. So Jesse has decided that he does want to give the speech therapist a try.
Good.
But he does require the option of leaving the group if he so chooses and does not like it.
Okay.
Therapist thought that was reasonable, so I concurred.
All right.
So that is where we are. In the last 7 days, we have started ABA therapy, been requested by the school to have a speech therapist, signed up for disability services, and are in the process of signing up for social groups, all hitting us all at once. And I think I would expect this more if this was last year, this happening last year, when he got diagnosed last year.
Yeah.
We are 1 year and 4 months into his diagnosis. So it's been 1 year and 4 months since he's been diagnosed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know COVID happened, so that allows for
I get this,
a few months
well,
there.
some of it we had to personally seek out, like, and get in contact. But
Technically, didn't we seek all of it out? Minus the social groups have been recommended, which that was on our list to eventually, Madeline, that is on our list to eventually do, but we are highly prioritizing dyslexia tutoring right now, so that's been my focus of trying to get him services for.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying,
Disability services wasn't even on our list, it just came across in the process.
yeah. I guess what I'm saying, like the school portion of it, I feel like would have happened last year.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Not-
that he's been there for an entire calendar year, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this?" Maybe it's just because they got to know him better, and they thought maybe the classes would help. And because that's not helping enough, maybe we'll add in just a little bit more.
Maybe they're like, COVID happened, and you guys are regressing in your social skills. So let's work on those for when this is all over.
Maybe
You can remember how to talk and interact with other human beings.
That's probably exactly
Could be a
it.
thought. I don't know.
That's a very valid point.
That's what I'm going with. And if that's the case, we all need it.
I remember all the memes from everybody going back to work of, I have to wear pants with buttons. I'm totally wearing pants with buttons today, by the way. Yes.
It's not fun. I don't like wearing pants with buttons.
He's even got buttons on his shirt.
I have to wear buttons on my shirt now, too.
So if you have any takeaway from this entire video, I want you guys to really remember, don't forget to advocate for your kids. Don't be afraid to continue to advocate, even if you're told no, or even if it's a lot more difficult than you expected it to be. I am a very strong believer in advocating for yourself and your kids and not to rely on other people to do that for you. If you don't have that skill, make sure you have like some type of case manager or somebody else that can do it for you.
Sometimes crying is involved, and that's okay.
That's okay too. Yes, very much so. Next week we do have our video where we talk about actual steps on how to stop snacking and incorporate that into your family without crying. And then after that, we have our Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
Thanksgiving, that'll be fun.
Okay.
I always love Thanksgiving.
I like it. It's nice.
Yeah. Not really a lot of stress around Thanksgiving. There's no
there's
presents
not.
and no there's no buying something. You don't have to buy costumes, you don't have to buy candy, you don't have to buy presents.
You gotta buy food, though. Lots of food.
But it's yummy.
And a turkey.
Yeah. I like that Thanksgiving, I feel like it's the least stressful holiday.
As long as you're not the one having to do all the cooking.
It's not the most fun, but it is the least stressful if you're not the one cooking.
Wake up.
Oh, little Madeline. It's past her bedtime.
Oh,
She can't
sleepy
handle
time.
it. All right, so in this Thanksgiving spirit, we've been doing shout outs to commenters on our video. And this week, I want to give a shout out to Kat. You make me happy every time you write a comment on our videos, and I love your good vibes. It just brings me a bunch of joy. And I appreciate you spreading some positivity. Madeline does too. She appreciates it.
Thank you very much, Kat.
So if you guys see her comment down there, make sure to give her a little like and show her some love too. So we put out new videos every Tuesday and we talk about all things autism or autism related. Sometimes we do bonus videos like our gift video that we just did for Christmas, where we include Christmas gifts for kids with autism and Christmas gifts for the entire family. So if you haven't watched that yet, check it out. I think the suggestions are fantastic, but I'm a little biased. Oh yeah, we're crushing this video.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sorry, it's dark outside, the lighting sucks. It is what it is. You can live with it, I can live with it. We'll move on and look past this.
Can't live with it.
I mean, I'll complain about it when I'm editing it, but we'll all move on eventually.
Because we have to post the video. That's why we move on.
Technically, we don't have to.
That's true.
This is all free reign.
But then what would you be watching in the evenings?
We are committed to posting every Tuesday. And Alan honestly had me pegged for giving up on that by now. But I don't. I am committed to it. We're still working out of time though. Like right now we're trying the 2 o'clock hour. It doesn't seem to be doing well. We might try a little earlier. You let me know, what time do you guys actually watch YouTube? And what time zone are you in and or country? That'd be really helpful. Comment down below. You can't turn your head sideways because your glasses look so. Okay, we have to tilt the back of our glasses up a little bit. Otherwise, here, I'll do it on his because I don't want to screw my
I get the crazy eyes.
His aren't as bad. Mine like
Mine's
go
bad.
full on like,
Yeah,
I
look
get
at that.
like crazy eyes, glowy stuff. And so we try to make it a little more pleasurable and less crazy for you guys to watch. Though I don't feel like we're doing very successful very well in this video.
Because she brought me into it.
It's usually what does it.
Her videos are very professional and nice, and then she's like, you need to be in a video, and it all goes haywire and downhill.
Well, I thought it was important for you to be in this video as we talk about like therapies for Jessie. Now, they're tired of listening to us ramble. Let's get back on track. All right, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Click on this video. Will you please click on this video? Come on, push it. Can you please subscribe? Can you please push that subscribe button? Or for the other video, you're gonna press this button. Go on, click this button, or this button, or this button. Well, mostly this button. I would like it if you did.